All right, so we switch gears a little bit this morning. We'll be chatting with Cindy Ann Currency, Operations Manager of the Digicel Foundation, and David Benjamin, National Games Chairman, Special Olympics Trinidad and Tobago. Well, the 36th Annual Special Olympics National Games will be held on Saturday, March 10th, and we will be chatting about that. Very exciting times.
It is indeed. Thank you.
All right, so welcome.
Well, thank you for having me.
So my first question, how do you feel about having a multi-sporting organization, very first, one of its kind in Trinidad and Tobago?
Multi-sport event is the only sporting organization, Special Olympics Trinidad and Tobago, that has been able to have a multi-sport event on one day. 8 sporting disciplines being competed in and around the Port of Spain and environs area. So we think that it's a phenomenal accomplishment, and it's a credit to the fact that we serve persons with intellectual disabilities. And the volunteers that have come out, we always, we thank them for their time and their dedication to be able to make this event the success that it has been for the several years that we've been, for the 30 plus years that we've been doing our events.
How do you feel about being with this organization?
I have been a volunteer for over 25 years. It's my passion. I think that working for athletes with intellectual disabilities is a calling. And I have immense joy working with the athletes, and it's an excellent vocation.
Ms. Currency, how do you feel about this partnership?
I think this is excellent. I mean, when Digicel first came to Trinidad and Tobago, before Rising Stars, before CPL, before Soca Monarch, Special Olympics, Trinidad and Tobago was our first partnership. So I know for us now as the foundation, when we were established in 2012, we were then able to just kind of deepen that relationship and get a whole lot more involved than just sponsoring the national games, which, as Mr. Benjamin said, is on March 10. So we've been investing in a lot of programs, sport for development programs with Special Olympics to help them recruit athletes, retain athletes, train coaches, get the word out there, spread some more awareness about persons with intellectual disabilities, as well as this great organization that's called Special Olympics Trinidad and Tobago, and how persons can get more involved. So as an employee for the Digicel Foundation, it really helps us to just kind of fly our flag really high to partner with an organization just as this. One of our core mandates is to create a world where no one is left behind. And I think, actually, I believe deeply that Special Olympics Trinidad and Tobago, they've been doing a fantastic job of trying to get all the stakeholders on board to ensure that persons with intellectual disabilities are not left behind, especially in the sporting arena. They are athletes, they're not Special Olympians, they are athletes, and when you see them perform in their varying disciplines, I mean, it's really amazing, it's mind-blowing, it changes your life, it changes the way you think about persons who have intellectual disabilities forever. So, I mean, I want to encourage you, if you're available, to come down and see the games on the 10th. Mr. Benjamin will go through all the different activities that will take place at the varying locations, but it's really something for Trinidad and Tobago to be a part of. I mean, this is a big deal. Once the athletes go through national games, which happens every year, they are then selected to participate in World Games, which happens every other year. And next year, World Games is in Abu Dhabi. So it's a huge deal.
Yes.
It's a really, really huge deal for Trinidad and Tobago, for these athletes, and, well, for Digicel Foundation to be a partner with Special Olympics.
That sounds exciting. What are some of the activities and where would they be held?
So there are 8 sporting events. Alphabetically, there's athletics at the Hazy Crawford Stadium. There's aquatics or swimming at the Diego Martin Pool. We have basketball at the Jean-Pierre Complex. Bocce. Bocce is a sport I always have to describe. It's lawn bowling, right? And it's for our athletes who are more severely developmentally delayed, as well as our older athletes. That will be played at the police ground on Long Circular Road. We have football at the training ground of the Hazy Crawford Stadium. Equestrian at the Mounted Branch with our police officers in attendance. The powerlifting at the Long Circular Gym. Swimming at the Diego Martin Pool, as I said before, and volleyball at the Jean-Pierre Complex.
How many athletes? Because those are so many sports.
Exactly. The last year we were able to attract over 600 athletes to the games. It's the largest sporting event in Trinidad and Tobago. I say in terms of athletes competing in one massive space. right? And it's going to be a phenomenal event to see these athletes, you know, in all of their excellence.
In terms of the age groups, what are we looking at?
Athletes for Special Olympics can compete from age 8 to infinity.
Really?
Yes, yes.
That's
We
awesome.
do have an upper age bracket for our athletes. From the time you achieve the age 8, you can compete in Special Olympic events.
How do you feel about this huge development? I mean, there are so many sporting activities. The age is unlimited. You know, how do you feel to be part of this?
It is quite an exciting kind of feeling, really, because logistically, it's hard to pull off all of that on one day. So it used to be 2 days, you know, and now
Okay.
we've kind of cramped it down to 1 day. So we literally have all hands on deck. Right, so yes, we have volunteers from the Special Olympics team, but we also get volunteers from our team members at Digicel to come out on the day and support. It's a large, I mean, it's a melting pot of all sorts of different things happening, and we really have to work together to make sure that it's perfect, that it turns out well, and that the athletes really have a good time,
Yes.
and because they train for the entire year for national games. So then getting people out there to come and support them is one of the biggest challenges that we've had at the foundation, to try to reach out to the public in all various media. We tried social media, we go on the radio, we're doing the TV interviews, even running some competitions to get the public more involved and enthusiastic about it. But it is an exciting thing. I mean, I've been there for the past 4 years. I've seen the games grow, even though we've kind of shrunk down to 1 day. It's still quite a huge event. As you said, it's one of the largest events that we have. And I mean, you have to come down and see it for yourself. It really is something.
And the response, based on what you've noticed over the past 25 years, you being with this group, would you say that the response has been quite encouraging, or you've had significant challenges when it comes to volunteering?
The response is growing. Our volunteer pool has increased. As a matter of fact, this year we are trying to manage better the number of volunteers that we accommodate on the day, because persons can come to the event and volunteer on spot. One of the things that I want to highlight at the same time in terms of volunteerism and growth is the fact that we're actually doing healthy athlete screening at the event. This health screening is one of the things that we've infused into our national games, and it gives us an opportunity to bring another aspect to the game. So you can compete in competitions, but you can also do screening in terms of vision screening, hearing screening, dental screening, podiatry, general physical fitness and wellness. So we've integrated a number of medical volunteers to assist us in completing a screening exercise. So it's also for bringing information to the athletes so that they could do follow-up and referrals. Additionally, it gives persons who are interested in doing research on persons with intellectual disabilities valued data that we can have to increase and improve the amount of information that we have on our athlete population.
That sounds like a lot. A lot is being done.
Yes.
Now, in terms of spectatorship,
Yes.
has that been a challenge?
It has been. Admittedly, it has been. We can do a lot better with our spectators. Usually, we see the families of the athletes coming to support, but we think that the general public, you know, really can do better in terms of coming out and supporting all these athletes who are ambassadors for Trinidad and Tobago. They compete locally, they compete internationally, and you know, they've been very successful over the years, so they deserve being seen by the general public.
And in terms of athletes from, let's say, Tobago, perhaps, do we have a lot of athletes from Tobago?
We expect just under 100 athletes from
Tobago
coming across. Special Olympics is at present institution and based in terms of some of the different special schools. So we have several special schools from Tobago coming across to the event. Just under 100 athletes coming to Trinidad for the 10th of March.
Nice. Now, Ms. Currency, I heard that they would also be having a gala concert and lighting of the cauldron. Can you tell us about that?
So usually, I mean, it's kind of ingrained in the tradition of Special Olympics. So there's lighting of the cauldron where we get an athlete, usually escorted by police service or persons from law enforcement, and they will actually get to light the torch that says Special Olympics National Games, and close off as well as open the games. It's something that we again, you really have to see it, right, for it to really mean enough to you. And the athletes get a special kind of greeting from it, because it's a fantastic honor as well to be a part of that. So as well as the with the closing concert, we also get some of the special needs schools to come out with their specific talents and skills. So you have the drummers, you have the Tassa drummers, the African drummers, the dancers, the singers, the everybody, they come out to support. And then at Digital Foundation, we try our best to see how we can leverage a relationship with some of the soca artists that we have involved, maybe some of our former winners, some Digital Rising Stars, to come out and also do some performances for the students, because they love to dance, they love to sing, they love music. So it really does add a nice touch to the end of the games, to just come together and do a little celebration.
All right. And also you mentioned that you cater for people with intellectual disabilities.
Yes.
What are some of those?
Intellectual disabilities has a broad spectrum. It encompasses persons who have Down syndrome, persons who are autistic, persons with developmental delays. You may also have persons with physical disabilities, but to qualify for Special Olympics, you have to also have an intellectual disabilities. So you would find that there's a really broad spectrum, and for us to encompass the entire group, we use a tool and mechanism in sport called divisioning to determine based on the person's level of disability what category in sport they will be placed. So we have a level playing field by this divisioning process, and that's how we're able to manage and determine where persons are placed based on their abilities.
Would you say these sporting activities are somewhat therapeutic in a sense?
Oh, definitely, definitely. We are actually using the vehicle of sport to bring that therapeutic effect, because we believe that through sport we can better the lives and make meaningful intervention in the lives of persons with intellectual disabilities, in terms of self-awareness, positivism, making those persons even more responsible in and around their homes. They're able to hold jobs because of the effects of sport in their lives. So we see that sport really transcends and builds them into better and even more responsible young persons.
How do you feel about that approach in terms of using sports? So it's not just entertainment, it's not just having fun, but it actually is a long-lasting impact on their mental development as well.
Well, it's a sport for development. It's quite a huge and a vast area in terms of what you can do for persons to develop them, whether it's emotionally, spiritually, even physically. And I think that the approach that the Special Olympics Trinidad and Tobago have taken to really take these athletes, again, it's not just games that they come and play. They actually have to train throughout the year. They go through rigorous training, and it's at an international standard as well as they get that opportunity to compete not just against each other, but internationally as well as regionally. So I know for them in particular, it does a lot for their self-esteem. It does a lot for the work that they end up doing at school, at their vocational centers, whether it's in academics or they're developing a skill or a craft. And then it does, as he said, help them develop into responsible citizens. Because at the end of the day, just like you and I, they have dreams, right? They have goals, they have things that they would like to do for themselves. And their parents also have great aspirations for them. So if we can help in one little way to try to realize that dream, I think it's a fantastic thing to be a part of. I know with Digital Foundation, I mean, the sponsorship for Special Olympics is only just 100,000 TT dollars, which really, I mean, you can put on the games, but that's just a one-day event. But the partnership that we've developed and the partnership that we would like other corporate entities in Trinidad and Tobago to be a bit more forthcoming with organizations like SOTT will really help to transform the lives of some of these athletes and other persons who have intellectual disabilities.
And I understand the opening ceremony begins at 8 a.m.
Yes.
Yeah.
to 9 a.m. and
Yes.
it ends with the gala concert and the lighting of the cauldron from 4:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Closing comments, what would you like to see?
More support for Special Olympics Trinidad and Tobago. We think that this is a phenomenal organization in terms of what we're able to accomplish, what we have been able to accomplish with the athletes so far. This is a community that deserves the assistance of the general public. They are young people, they are older persons who have varying abilities. I don't like to say disabilities, but varying abilities. And I think that the public's support would help to grow the organization, would help to better the lives of persons with intellectual disabilities throughout Trinidad and Tobago.
All right. Thank you so much for being on our show today. It was such a pleasure having you all on.
Thank you.
All right. So we've been chatting with Cindy Ann Currency, Operations Manager, Digicel Foundation, and David Benjamin, National Games Chairman, Special Olympics, Trinidad and Tobago.